Goofy horror movies too. Okay, before we start this, now I can do my little story time. Goofy horror movies. Every slasher film from the 70s, every slasher film from the 80s, terrible. All of them horrible. The acting's terrible. It's not scary. And they used to think those movies were fucking terrifying. Like those were like award winners. Friday the 13th, the OG Halloween, Michael Myers. I also call it Jason, by the way, and Michael Myers. I'm not calling that Halloween and Friday the 13th. Why can't we just name it what it is? The worst one of them all, Nightmare on Elm Street. Ugh, unbearable. Unbearable. I didn't even finish that movie. It was so stupid. Jason is... Okay, here's the difference. Nightmare on Elm Street is a better film than Friday the 13th, but it's bad. The thing that makes Friday the 13th and Halloween watchable is that they're so fucking bad that you have to keep watching. It is, and it's so predictable. Everything, we watched Friday the 13th part 2, me and Brooke last night, and Brooke calls it off rip. She goes, there's going to be a nude scene, and right after the nude scene, the girl's going to die. They always show a girl's boobs right before she dies. I go, there's no way. And then out like 5 minutes later, the one woman that's clearly the one that they're like sexualizing gets butt naked, goes skinny dipping. Her friend steals her clothes, and she's like, give me my clothes back, Jonathan. Ugh, you perv. He gets caught in a trap. She's like, I'll go get something to cut you down. He dies. She walks up. She's like, ah! And then she gets murdered too. And the whole time, Jason's in the corner, just watching. And I'm like, this motherfucker's got to be gooning to this. There's no way. There's no way. The whole scene, you're seeing the woman naked from Jason's point of view. And he's just hiding in the woods, just watching her. I'm like, this is fucking weird. This is literally gooner film, dude. Jason's just in the corner cranking one out to this. It's fucking crazy. I just spoiled the film. It came out 50 years ago. It came out when your parents were fucking 5. Okay? If you ask your parents, though, if you have older parents, like, hey, was Friday the 13th a scary film? They're probably going to hit you with a, yeah, man, that was for the edgy kids back in my day. Meanwhile, it's literally just like he drives an ice pick through somebody's head and they're dead. And all the special effects look terrible. Oh, so bad. They're just goofy movies. Anyways.
Growing up, when I thought of horror movies, I always thought scary. You know, creepy atmospheres, scary looking killers, jump scares. But in a sea of these scary or even terrifying horror movies, sometimes there's some goofy ones. Horror movies so low budget or so ridiculous or sometimes so trash.
Oh my God, I almost watched the Sloth one. I think that's on Hulu. Oh, Winnie Pooh, Blood and Honey. I'm pretty sure the second one they made was actually good. Thanksgiving. What was the one with Addison Rae that was during Thanksgiving? That movie actually wasn't that bad. That was a pretty good film, I must say. That one with Addison Rae it wasn't just called Thanksgiving. It was a good movie.
Can't help but laugh.
I wouldn't watch it again, but I enjoyed it.
So today, after nearly 3 years, golly, I'm revisiting this topic and we're going to be going over some more goofy horror movies. Some of these are well established, some of these are very popular, and some of these are
I think the OG Purge movie was good, and then everyone after that was bad. They should have just... I don't know why they had to keep this stupid fucking... I never understand why they do we have to have a story, right? We need a plot and a prequel on how the Purge started. I don't need that shit. Same thing with the Hunger Games. You know how good the Hunger Games movies would be? I mean, they were great films. I'm not going to sit here and say I didn't fucking, sit on the edge of my seat for, catching fire and shit like that. But you know how good those movies would be if they just showed random Hunger Games? Like, if they could just be like The Purge 2063 and The Purge 1935. And just, it's a universe where The Purge exists and it just tracks a new person every year of, like, them trying to survive lawlessness. Or The Hunger Games, like, just Hunger Games 85. And it's just like a random Hunger Games. We follow a random character. And it's like, hey, this is them trying to live through the Hunger Games. Like, because that's what's awesome. They're all based off the books. The Purge isn't. Hunger Games is. So that's why I get it. Because for book series, you need to wrap it around. But for movies, like, I've said this before. In the Hunger Games movie, in the OG one, where they were showing all the Hunger Games movies, or all the Hunger Games previously. And in one of the snippets in the film, it shows like a big dude smashing a guy's head in with a brick to win. And it was like the Hunger Games 2 years prior. And he's like, ugh, and he show me that one. Show me that Hunger Games. Just make a movie on that Hunger Games. It would be fucking awesome. Not even a movie. Make a movie of like 5 different Hunger Games and keep them in half-hour snippets. That'd be awesome. I just get to fucking watch them shit unfold.
Popular, and some of these are the most ridiculous movie you'll ever see. And
Abraham Lincoln the Vampire Hunter.
You'll ever see. And what better way to start than with a popular one? The Purge. We all know this one. Every year in America, all crimes become legal, rich people are protected, poor people die, economy and crime rates thrive, yada yada yada, people kill each other. Now, it's a good move. There were some goofy decisions made, like the daughter running off on her own when someone's in the house, or this.
Well, that's every horror movie, they have to pan into idiocy, because a lot of the time, if you did the logical play, you would just be safe. Like, why are they even in country? They're a well-off family. Why don't they flee to Canada for a day? Only the United States observes the Purge holiday. Why don't they leave country? You know what I mean? Like, why aren't you getting the fuck out of here? Why don't you have a bunker under your fucking house with 6-inch steel walls that you could just fucking hide in?
Son, you know, letting in a complete stranger on a night where people are allowed to kill each other. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you ain't letting anybody in unless you know that motherfucker. I wouldn't even trust people. Would you trust your friends? I feel like, yeah, I would trust my boys. But during the Purge, if I ain't know you well, I'd be like, nah, I can't be hanging out with you, bro. You wouldn't trust your friends. I would trust my friends. I would trust my friends, but if it was like an acquaintance, no. But like people I actively hang out with, you're tripping. You wouldn't hang out with your friends. I'd be like, let's just chill during the Purge. I would be a little scary though. You know what I mean? You'd be like, on the off chance one of these people doesn't like me, they could kill me. Your best friends, they would touch me. You think your friends would touch you? That's not good. If you're worried that in a place of lawlessness, the only reason your friends aren't touching you is because it's illegal, you probably need to get new friends.
Pisses me off to this day. But the silliness of this movie for me doesn't lie in the decisions or the killer.
I would touch them. Stop. I'm cutting this off. No. Give it a rest. Moving on.
Or the acting or anything like that. For me, it lies in its concept. A day where everything is legal. There's no rules to stop you.
Bro, I will say the scene in the OG Purge where it shows the broadcast off rip and it's like, you know what I'm talking? And it blue screens and it does the whole announcement. That shit's scary. That's cool as fuck. And I thought it was so stupid though, where they're like, you can't kill government officials, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, people are still gonna try to kill government officials. If the Purge existed, even though they were like, you can't kill Donald Trump, somebody's gonna go kill Donald Trump. You know what I mean? Like, it's not stopping anybody. I always thought the dumbest rule was in the end of the first film, the time, like the alarm sounds that the Purge is over and some guy's pointing a gun at the family and he's like, oh, it's done. Dude, who the fuck's watching? Half the town's dead. You hear the alarm sound that the Purge is over, just fucking kill him, you know? What are they going to rewind the footage and be like, nah, you killed him 5 seconds after the alarm sounded. That makes it illegal.
You know cops to beat on you and people are just killing each other? Really? You get 12 hours every year to potentially change your life and you use it to kill homeless dudes and get petty revenge? Are we serious? Y'all not thinking about the long term? Y'all not thinking about the money? Go sell crack. Maybe I just don't understand.
Go sell crack for one day? What are you gonna fucking walk and be like, hey, it's the Purge, you need crack? I'll make fucking $10 off you.
The violent nature of humans. But
I would pirate movies. The edgy guy during the Purge. What are you doing for this year's Purge? I don't know, man. I think I might illegally watch the Minecraft movie. I think I might pirate some films.
I don't think that many people are itching to be the next Joe Goldberg. I'm sorry. That ending was booty, by the way. I might make a vid on it. But it ain't just the people only killing each other thing that I find goofy. There's also the unemployment and crime rate thing. The movie claims that the annual purge lowers unemployment and crime rates. And quite frankly, I don't believe that, because that's under the assumption that people...
I believe it lowers unemployment because so many people die that now there's no one with excess jobs. I don't think it motivates people to not be bums. I think all the bums are now dead and people need work. Like now there's open job. You got to think, right? During the day of the purge, fucking 100,000 people die. Those are 100,000 open jobs. Now people get work.
People don't work jobs because of competition. When in reality, people don't be unemployed because of competition. People be unemployed because these jobs are too dang bougie. We all know it's true. I've had days where I submitted, not even joking, over 80 Indeed applications just for the first word in the email they sent me back to say, unfortunately. And that's just their approval rates. That ain't even talk about their qualifications. I've seen jobs with requirements like 5 years experience, bachelor's degree, able to lift 50 pounds, fluent in Spanish, German, and Russian, and the job title? McDonald's manager, $12.50 an hour. So no, I don't think people purging each other would affect people's ability to...
I think it would lower the... I'm not supporting the purge here. Let me just fucking voice that. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I'm not saying the purge should exist. I think the idea here is that the purge would lower qualifications for job markets because you can't really be picky when half of your employees die every year.
To get jobs. Then there's the whole crime rate drop thing. No. Just no. If some random purger killed one of my loved ones at 6:59 a.m., you think just because the clock hits 7 a.m.
That's what I'm saying!
And purge time is over, I'ma be like, you got me this year, buddy. That was my favorite odds. I'll get you next year, though. No, I am grabbing the 12 gauge and popping, dude. And I'm sure if the purge was real, I wouldn't be the only one thinking this way. Ask yourself right now, you watching this, if someone slapped your grandma and they're right in front of you, are you really willing to wait till next year to get revenge? So no, it's also not fixing crime rates. But that's the purge, which is pretty normal compared to other movies I want to talk about, like The Evil Bong, a movie about...
Oh my god, I couldn't even watch it, bro. I love stoner movies, and they have so many of these. This is unironically the worst film, the worst horror film. Dude, they get sexually seduced by the bong, and it traps them in, like, the bong verse. And it's so stupid. What is it? It's like a bong they buy. Oh, explain it.
A bunch of stoners that come across this evil bong that when they smoke...
Oh my god, and it, like, talks to them. And it's like so poorly edited, too. You could tell the budget of the film's like 10 grand.
Smoke it, it transports them to Bong Road, an evil dimension full of killer strippers. This movie has 9 sequels.
Yeah, and they get looped in because they're like sexy strippers. And then once they're in the bong verse, they're like and they're like and then that's the film.
By the way. Then there's another very popular...
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
...one, Beetlejuice. I'll be honest, I did not know this movie was a thing for the longest.
I never watched the OG Beetlejuice. I watched the new one, and I loved it. I thought the new one was great.
I had heard a lot of good things about the so-called Beetlejuice, but when I thought of Beetlejuice, I only ever thought of, that little dude. So when I finally watched it, my expectations were high. And I ain't gonna lie, it didn't disappoint. This movie's the definition of goofy, but it's great. I can't even explain what I like about this movie so much. It's not the most exciting story. Nothing in it makes sense. It's barely even a horror movie. But
it's just a likable film. Like, it's not, you're not even it's like just a good vibe. It's like rewatching a show.
Much as I hate to say this word, it has a vibe to it. It has this weird, funny take on afterlife where there's waiting rooms and stuff. That would suck. The music for this movie is just mwah, mwah.
The best depiction I've seen of what eternal hell torture would be was from the show Supernatural. What was the guy's name? Crowley. He made hell an infinite waiting line. Because in the show Supernatural, there's there's not one devil, right? There's the devil, but then there's a guy that runs hell. And that guy changes. And Crowley ran hell. I didn't ask. I don't give a fuck. Anyways, Supernatural, he runs hell. And he makes hell like an infinite queue to where, like, you get to the front and you're like, oh my god, I'm almost there. And then it resets you all the way back to the start. And you just do that forever. Like, you never reach the end of the line. You're just always waiting in line. And I feel like, I don't know if that would be worse than just, like, torture, because I think torture for the first 10,000 years would be worse, but I think the level of insanity for waiting would be like over an infinite amount of time. I feel like having like psychological torture like that would probably be worse than just like physical pain.
And like, I don't know, when I was watching this, it's like I slowly
I don't know, either way that would both be horrible.
felt my desire to grow some bangs and dye my hair increasing. It was great. If you've never seen it, this movie is about a small town couple, Barbara and Adam, who die after being murdered by a dog. Kinda, not really. That's just my interpretation of it, but you can't tell me this wasn't murder. And after respawning back at
Wait, is this Beetlejuice? I just remember the fucking second one.
their crib, they find out their ghost haunting their old house, which is low-key pretty cool. Yeah, they can't leave the crib or get sent to literal Saturn and get attacked by sandworms, but you know, eternal love or something. But their fun is spoiled after a family of snobby New York artists move into their house. And that's when you realize this movie, instead of being about the family being haunted by the couple, it's more like them being haunted by the family because they cannot stand these people. The stepmom, who's also the mom from Home Alone, is just super posh and obsessed with art. The dad, who's into bird watching, he's just money hungry. And the dude who plays him in real life is into some disgusting stuff. And then the daughter, well, she's the only cool one. She can actually see the ghost couple, and best of all, she embodies the vibe this movie gives me. Just super goth.
And where the fuck's Beetlejuice at?
Man. It's cool, but the couple was annoyed by this family so much, besides Lydia, they did everything in their power to scare them away. Ripped their own faces off, fake murder scenes, nothing worked. They even possessed them and made them throw it back. Might be my favorite scene. What? It's funny. But even that didn't work. It actually made things worse because these dudes decided it'd be a smart idea to make the ghost a tourist attraction, like a business. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm definitely going to that. Did you see how they was throwing it? With no other options left, like something straight out of The Exorcist, they looked to hire a specialist. But this wasn't just...
In my head, in real life, I'm not opposed to ghosts existing. But if you're ever marketing that place to me, like the Conjuring house, which I know is very documented, but if I'm able to take a 10 a.m. tour at this house, it's not haunted. Not haunted. A haunted house, in my mind, is some abandoned, run-down shit in the middle of the woods that nobody's been to for 5 years, and nobody even knows that it's there. And you pull up, and it's just fucking scary. Like, that's how I perceive a haunted house.
Any specialist, this was Beetlejuice, not the little one. This dude is a moldy skin, green-haired having, perverted being, and I mean very perverted, animated demon. And even though he showed up halfway through the movie, this dude was definitely the star of the show. They summoned him after saying his name 3 times to help them scare out the family, but turns out Mr. Juice likes to do more than just scare people, because when he gets summoned, this dude starts trying to kill the family. That's called false advertising, Mr. Juice. Barbara eventually stops him, but it was too late. The damage was already done, and the only cool one in the house, Lydia, didn't trust the couple because she thought it was them that did it. I mean, they're ghosts. But don't worry, that wasn't the end for Mr. Juice yet. We see Lydia in her room looking all sad, looking all goth, wanting to not be living, until she goes to the attic and sees Mr. One and Only himself, Mr. Juice. She starts telling him about her problems and how much her parents suck and how she wishes she were dead. Yeah, mental health and stuff. How about you get me out of here? Mr. Juice promises he'll help Lydia with whatever she wants as long as she helps him. But before he can, the ghost couple come back. Where were they? You know, ghost stuff. They tell Lydia being dead doesn't make anything any easier, and it kind of sucks. That's right, life is worth living. But this wholesome moment is ruined when the couple, after giving Lydia her motivation...
Why did he have like a 3-foot-long nose? What was the relevancy there?
Being exercised. Yeah. In an attempt to impress some business partners, this dude over here started pretty much killing Barbara and Adam. They're already dead, but you know what I mean. With no other choice, Lydia rushes to Beetlejuice for help, and he helps her, but at a price. Beetlejuice is summoned and he does what he does, terrorizing and kissing the family and their guests. But he does save Barbara and Adam at a price. Beetlejuice agreed to help Lydia if, and only if, she marries him. What in the R. Kelly? You're hundreds of years old. This girl's a teenager. He really is a demon.
But didn't he want to marry her because that would set him free out of like, what was the... It was in the second film. There's like it's not like because he loves her. It's like he wants to marry her because he's contractually binded to the underworld or something. And like he needs to marry anyone to get out of it.
A Minecraft YouTuber. But before their wedding could be complete, Lydia is saved by Barbara and Adam. And the sandworm from earlier comes through and eats Mr. Juice. What a fitting way to go out. Like I said, although a little wacky and goth, I really enjoyed this movie. 8.5 out of 10. The vibes are valid. But I cannot say the same about the next movie I'm about to go over. Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
I've never even heard of this. Is this actually supposed to be like canonically Abraham Lincoln, the president of the United States?
This is real. And when I tell y'all this is one of the most
oh my god, he's wearing the hat.
ridiculous horror movies I've ever watched, yeah, it's a horror movie. I truly mean it. This movie opens up and the first thing we see, a little black kid getting whipped. Okay, all right. This kid is Abe's best friend, and since it's the 1800s, he's sadly a slave. As a descendant of Caribbean slaves myself, and also probably a slave master. Not cool, white people, not cool. We see a young Abe Lincoln rush in to defend his friend only to fail, and this little debacle, I like that word, gets him, or should I say his family, in more trouble than he thought. Because that very same night, while little Abe is writing in his journal, he sees someone come in the house. And y'all can already guess who or what it was. A vampire. Which off the rip is how you know this didn't happen. Vampires are supposed to be welcome into your house. They can't just walk in like they own the place. This vampire, who was the same dude from earlier, was what started it all for Abe. Because after killing Abe's mama, R.I.P.
Vampires have to get welcomed into your house? Since when is that a part of the lore of a vampire? I thought they just fucking attack people.
Abe vows to get revenge on him. And this desire for justice is what started
old gen vampires, the ones that still follow the code.
It's Abe's vampire hunter journey. We see him get recruited. He gets a training arc where he can somehow chop down a whole tree in one swing and eventually kills hella vampires. But after finally getting revenge and reflecting and realizing this vampire thing is bigger than he ever thought, I'll get to that in a second, he comes to the conclusion that the only way he'll really make a change in the world is through politics. So then he becomes president. And here during his presidency is where we really see the absurdity of this movie.
That's Captain America. How have I never heard of this movie?
During his presidency is where we really see the absurdity of this movie. Because if you paid attention in U.S. history,
Anthony Mackie, sorry, I always refer to people, if they're superheroes, as their superhero name. It's like if I see one of the Hemsworths, I'm like, oh, that's Thor.
What war started during his presidency, class? That's right, the Civil War. And now, follow-up question. Who fought in that war? If you said the Union and the Confederacy, you're wrong. Because in this movie, instead of fighting against Southern slave owners, they fight against Southern slave owners who happen to be vampires. Yeah, the Confederate South in this movie is just roaming with vampires, which in my opinion is hilarious. Can you imagine being a black person in the 1800s and you get rolled up on by a racist Confederate vampire?
I thought vampires can't go outside during the day. Am I wrong? I feel like if there were vampire slave owners, it would be fairly easy to get away from them because like they can't chase you he had a hat on. The hat just removes all the fucking, oh, you're gonna burn in the sunlight. He still had the sun beating on his face. What do you mean? He wasn't wearing like some big ass sombrero that was like covering his fucking head.
To suck your blood.
He had a fucking top hat on.
Oh. Never mind. Or at least that's how I thought they'd be. Because in this movie, it's actually the opposite. The vampires don't see black people as inferior or a person they would avoid eating. In fact, they're actually their main source of food. And they use slavery to cover it all up. So, at least they ain't racist. The war goes the same as it did in real life. Abe frees the slaves in the South. He ain't free them all, just the ones in the South. And then they use spoons and forks and other silverware to win the war. Not joking, that's how they won. And now finally, a movie I've been waiting to go over since 2022, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Back when I recorded part 1, this movie didn't release yet, but just off the premise alone,
was Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey the first one or the second one?
I knew it was
I'd never seen that shit. I know the second one looked scary as fuck. The first one looked really bad.
Disaster in the making. A movie,
yeah, the first one looks terrible.
About Winnie
I'm surprised they didn't talk about Barbarian. I always talk shit on that movie. I think it's one of the worst films I've ever seen.
The Pooh, the bear who eats honey all day.
Okay, no, the plot's interesting. It's just the monster's just a full pivot turn that you never think you're gonna fucking see. Hold up.
Killing people? How did this happen? Well, apparently, after chilling with Winnie and friends for years like in the show, y'all remember the show, Christopher Robin grew up and decided it was time to leave for college. Playing games and eating honey with owls, tigers, and pigs just doesn't pay bills. And with their only connection to the outside world, and most importantly, food, gone, the animals were forced to fend for themselves. And then one fateful...
Oh my god, like wild animals need to. How stupid is that? You're telling me you don't survive unless a fucking 6-year-old brings you a fucking energy bar?
Winter night, they decided the only way for them to survive was to eat one of their own, the depressed donkey. Eeyore. Doing this made
Yeah, guys, okay. I guess you could eat me. It's no. Just make sure you don't eat my face.
them go deeper into their animal roots, never speaking again. And even scarier, it made them hate humans. And so now Winnie the Pooh kills people. This movie is so unserious. We're literally watching Winnie the freaking Pooh and Piglet kill a bunch of girls staying at a cabin just because they can. And it really is just the two of them, because this movie couldn't afford to add any of the other animals. There's no Tigger, there's no Owl, there's not even the rabbit. And
it's harder to make those look real. It's really easy to just give somebody a fucking Winnie the Pooh mask.
One thing if that was the only thing wrong with this movie, but no, the lighting is booty. Winnie the Pooh has super strength for some reason, able to chop off people's hands with one fell swoop. Like what?
I mean, he is a bear.
Some of the characters make the most ridiculous decisions.
Wait, is Winnie the Pooh a bear? Winnie the Pooh bear. Yeah, Pooh Bear.
Like, why are you still in the hot tub? You just saw him on your phone. And for crying out loud, they're wearing rubber masks. It's not even subtle. You can clearly see it. Look. This movie is something. It pretty much ends with Piglet dying and Winnie killing everyone except Christopher Robin, who he lets run away because he still had love for him. But it doesn't end there completely, because apparently since recording part 1, they've dropped a sequel to this movie. Blood and Honey 2.
But it looks so bad. It looks so much better. Look at the fucking mask.
Was actually better. And this year, 2025, they're supposed to be dropping a Poohniverse movie and a Bambi one? Bambi? Nah, I gotta see that one. That was pretty much all the horror movies I wanted to go over today. Comment down below the ones you guys thought was the goofiest. And don't worry, I will be doing a part 3. There's a few more movies.
Sharknado. Ugh. The one scene in Sharknado where I think it's the girl gets eaten by a shark and the dude rips out a chainsaw, cuts the shark open, and she's just fully intact. Like, she slid down the shark's throat without the shark biting her once, and her entire body is just like perfectly fine within the shark. Like, literally, like swallowed her like a pill. Sharknado is so bad it's good. That's how you gotta make a shitty horror film. Something that's not unenjoyably bad, but like, okay, here's how I would describe it. 7 out of 10 movies and above, enjoyable. 4 to 6 out of 10 movies are bad. If you're watching a 4 to 6 out of 10 movie, they're not good. They're just boring. Watch a 2. If you watch a 2 out of 10 film, it's golden. That's where it's like, holy shit, this is the worst movie ever, but you have to keep watching.